Sometimes God you do very well, you shine, but he also throws out other things your way, and you got to figure out how to shine through that too. Some people clam up, some people don't continue on, but that was never me. You know, my mom was always leader of my household. You know, my father was in my life, but my mom was a single mom who kept things going. So that too was something like, I know my mama did it, I can do it.
I personally feel like I was afraid to talk about it. I was almost afraid to bring it up because I was like, God, I really knew Kwamie, and that was a loss, like a brother. And I was like, oh my God. I know.
And I told you I was comfortable. Now you're gonna get me crying, but not because no, I was like, your eyes are getting a little glossy. I'm like, yeah, no. But no, it was for all of us, it was a big shock. It was something that never in life I could have expected that I was going to be going through that. But I also know that, you never know what God is setting you up for. And I looked at, not just talking about what I was on, talk about on different podcasts, but I just looked at over my life that sometimes God you do very well, and he you shine, but he also throws out other things your way, and you got to figure out how to shine through that too. And it's hard. Some people clam up, some people don't continue on, but that was never that was never me. You know, my mom was always, she was a leader of my household. My father was in my life, but my mom was a single mom who kind of kept things going. So that too was something like, I know my mama did it, I can do it. And you know how y'all schedules were. You weren't there. So
it is.
And I'm not saying that he wasn't there. No, it wasn't your fault. You were providing to make sure we had the lights and everything to stay on. So I was able to already handle taking care of them, getting to them to where they need to be, household finances, everything that needed to be done, I was already doing. So I didn't feel like I was at a loss. I knew exactly what needed to get done. You don't want to do it because my stomach was literally in a knot for weeks until after the memorial service was probably the first day I really ate and the first day I went to sleep. But that period, and I think you were at the hospital, right? Didn't you come to the hospital?
No, I didn't.
You didn't?
No,
okay.
No, I didn't.
Okay. So after it all happened, you know how close we are to the Spibees, right?
Yeah.
So I think I called him, and I know I called him and my girlfriend because I was headed somewhere for my sorority, Delta. We had a meeting that day, and I told her, don't pick me up. I had to go to the hospital. We were, Kwamie had a heart attack at the gym. And I didn't know, at that time what his status was. I just knew he was going to be okay. I really did. And then that's the thing I was praying. I just Lord, please just let this be a warning that he needs to get that pacemaker. Don't let this be the call. How Fred used to, Sanford used to say, this the big one.
Honey.
I just just don't let this be the, the big one. And then it was crazy because we were going to the movies that evening, and he wanted to go to the gym first. Ironically, we were watching the Indianapolis Colts playoff game. It was on a Sunday, and we were watching the game, and we were going to go to the movie after the game, but he, forgot. He really don't care. I watched more football than he did. So he didn't really care the outfit of the game. He said, I'm going to go. During the holidays, the boys went to work out with him every single day. He made them feel like, if you don't want it, if you don't get up and go, they just always, how y'all do.
Absolutely.
So he always not made them go, but he drove them to want to go when he went. And they love the Village. It's a nice place to work out, eat, drink, all that good stuff after the fact. That particular day, I think, I don't know what happened that night, but they weren't all going, and he was ready to go. So he went ahead and went to the gym, and they were going to meet him there. And I just feel like this is all the setup, that God makes sure that they weren't there. They didn't witness it.
Absolutely.
They weren't. I know there was a 12-year-old little girl who actually called for help, and I was told later that she was still dealing with that a few years later. So I'm glad my kids didn't witness it. The day before, me and him worked out on those same two machines, and I went a little bit longer than him because I just had to say I was on there longer than him, right? So when I got word, and of course when social media news also he passed away on the treadmill, I was like, Kwamie don't even do the treadmill. So I knew that wasn't true, but I knew it was an elliptical. I knew where we were, and I knew exactly what happened. And then it took me a few days to go. It took me a few weeks to go back to talk to the gym and talk to them about well, what happened, and the guy who works there, the manager, kind of explained to me. And then it was at that point he told me he don't even think he was alive when he left in the ambulance. And I just was at the hospital hoping that he's like, I don't think so. Ironically, too, one of the EMTs was someone who worked with him with the Cardinals. I don't know if he was a former player. I can't remember his name, but he assured me, he said, Ericka, I used to, I think he said I used to play with Kwamie with the Cardinals, and I literally did everything I possibly could. And he did. And, of course it was sad, but I will say the brotherhood came through.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Everybody. Absolutely. Donovan was there first, him, and I think EJ, then Junior came, and Michael, a few people. But by the time Nicole got the message, Bidwell got the message, when we walked out, probably over an hour later, that whole lobby was packed. I mean, they were asking security to move folks around.
Please, we need some room to get through.
And it was just, it was just heartwarming to know. And we knew then we had the support in the village we needed to get through that.
It's crazy because I remember that night when I had to tell the kids about it. I remember Deuce was on the headset playing video games with your boy. I'm trying to remember, Quincy maybe?
Quincy is the one.
Yeah, and they were playing video games that night. And I remember when he got off, I was like, hey, I need to talk to you real quick, and I got to tell you something. And I was just like, how am I going to tell him this? So I told him, and Deuce was in shock, like, what? I literally was just playing with Quincy on the headset, and he didn't say a word about it. So it was just like that, like you said, that brotherhood, it was just like a ripple effect. And having to tell my kids and tell Morgan, and they all grew up together playing football in your backyard together. So it was just like that affected so many people in our lives. But when that happened, like, and you told the boys, like, how did that affect them in the sports? Like, did they clam up? Did they use sports as motivation now? Like, I'm going to just all in. Yeah.
So at that time, KJ was at KU. I can't remember the year what year and season he was in. I probably think it was going in his third year. The blessing is Kwamie was the first 2 years, he was a preferred walk-on. So the first 2 years or 2.5 years, we actually paid his tuition. I was so happy that he got that in 2018. He got that scholarship. So Kwamie was here to witness that. Praise God. So then when that happened, he was just more determined than ever to go back. I think they stayed home maybe 5 days, and after about the 5th day, he's like, I got to get back. I got to get back
to some normal.
Get back in the office. And he called it the office.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what it is.
I got to get back in the office, and I got to go to work, and he did. He went out there, and his last 2 years, is where he is today. He put in the work that needed to be put in.
So you got to go, explain where he is today. Don't just say that like it's nothing.
Well, that's his last 2 years, he put in the work so that he could be that leading receiver for the KU Jayhawks and to go into, the NFL.
Yeah.
And they all have their own different stories. They all have their own different I'm about to cry more about my children and I.
That's fine. It's
but they have their own different ways of
if you need
adversity.
To take a break or anything,
let me know. I'm good.
I
mean, it's okay. Yeah, you might have to just drop a tissue, but I'm good. I really am. But they have their own different ways of the way they have, tackled the adversity that they went through. And it is about just putting in the work. And I don't know if you follow Kwinton, but the different videos and the different motivations, they keep all that. We literally still have Kwamie in our group chat today.
Really?
Like, we have a family chat because nobody wants to lose those nuggets that he had. And of course I got the phone, so it dings my phone, it dings his phone, dings my phone, but he left so many nuggets to them in their personal, text messages, videos, and he was able to use those. They use it, they replay those, they screenshot those. So those are like, I'll look at their phone sometime and a screenshot is a text from their dad, some of the things that they share. So those are the way they keep going,
that's great.
With
dudes, it's like, do you hear me? Like, I'm sending him this stuff, and you're always like battling with him. Like, dude, listen to me. Like, so it's just I'm sitting here and I try to put myself in those shoes. I mean, I would never want that to happen to my family, but it's like, it's so great to hear that influence and what it meant, that it carried them through as a father, because that's what you want. I mean, you leave a legacy.
Right. Well, you know, we used to talk about Kwamie after he left, or when he always used to say, you know, he would say different things to me about, they always gonna be mama's boys, because he's just so hard. Y'all so hard on him, and I'll be like, it's okay, you know, you just got to put in your best. I'm not, you know how mamas do. We gonna cut them a little bit, but that was what they needed. You know, of course, all kids need both parents, and that's what they needed. And of course it was hard, but it used them to get to where they are now. Absolutely. So KJ is in his third year with the Bengals. Yeah, he was a receiver for them. I'm looking forward to going out. I literally each season have to print 4 schedules, and I have to figure out, okay, where am I going? I hadn't done that this year, and I've always already had that done. I did it last night because he said, "Are you coming to my first game?" I was like, "Oh, when is it?" It's just so much going on in my head.
It is,
you know, I don't miss them. I don't miss any of them. So I'm going to be there, but it just wasn't. So yeah, August 10th, I'll get to see him do his thing.
Who do they play?
Don't ask me that.
Put you on the spot.
Tampa Bay.
Okay.
I said, I just did this last night. Yeah, Tampa Bay. So I'll get to see him do his thing. Kwinton did well too. So Darius and Kwinton were roommates at Butler County when everything went down. So they had each other. Yeah, and that was the blessing of that. Yeah. So they were there to lean on each other, and they were able to support each other. And I think after that, they had 2 years together at Butler before Kwinton went to walk on at Kansas, and then eventually earned his scholarship. Yeah. So what I was saying is they all had to climb. So not being able to having to prove themselves has been something they had to do their entire, probably not with the Crushers when we were together, because y'all would just play the kids.
We're a little older. Deuce never played on that team.
He didn't? Okay.
No, Deuce is...
No, he's behind.
Yeah, he's a year behind
y'all. But so was the Harris brothers, and they were with him. No, Jason and...
I don't think we ever played with y'all.
So maybe it was just a family thing, or coming to the baseball games, because I would always see him with Justin. Hooks. Yeah, when we were at the... Yes, that's what it was. So.
Yeah, we played baseball
or
together.
all the parties, because we were together. But,
all the time.
Yeah.
That, it's like, it really bothered me, I guess, the only way to say it, like when I knew you were coming on here, and I'm like, what do I want to talk to her about? And I was so afraid to even go there, like to even talk about that, because I think it was more of a hang up for me. And so when I talked to you last night, and you were kind of like, I'm fine talking about whatever. I've talked about this before. It made me feel a little better than when I talked with Ivana, and the more people talked about it, it was like, dude, this is more your hang up than anybody else's.
Yeah, it is.
Because I don't think I ever really talked to anybody about it.
No. Call me anytime. We could talk. But and I get it. In the first couple of years, it was hard to start talking without crying, and I can't believe 5 years has gone by. It's still very hard. Literally 3 nights ago, my dreams are so vivid that when I wake up, and I'll be like, oh man. And then I want to get back to sleep because it was fun.
Get back to it.
Yeah. Or we literally were having a good time, So those are the things, I'll be like, I know he's gone. I know I am slowly but surely moving on. Yeah. But those are the things that remind me that he's always present. I know you see, every time I turn around, I see 42 every single day. Yeah. and one way or another, it may be on a clock. I was in Hawaii recently, stepped outside of my resort, the first thing I saw was number 42 on the bus, So it's a way that I still get my little God wink, so I know that, he's thinking about me. Yes. Yeah. That's so, good. I don't remember when it started, but it hadn't stopped, so.
You notice it all the time.
All the time. I just stopped posting about it because my oldest child told me, Eric said, you're probably never going to get a boyfriend if you're going to keep putting 42
that's funny that
there.
you bring that up, because I was sitting here thinking like, so
I was like, I don't post about it. I was like, I am so at peace in my life right now. We were in a relationship for 32 years, married for 22 years. I've enjoyed going where I want to go, doing what I want to do. So I told him, I said, when it's time, it's going to be fine. It'll happen.
I don't know if you're going to be able to do it, Ericka. You got too many brothers that are going to be like, like, who is this?
Oh, I did that too. I actually did that to Junior like 4 days ago. I was in Go Canyon. And he's like, where are you at? Because him and Michael will come over, Langston? Over weekends. We sit around, drink, have a good time, talk. And Spivey just lived down the street. It's just been our thing, literally. And another thing, when Kwamie passed away, he was on my couch for weeks, But we're in the same neighborhood, just making sure we were okay. Absolutely. So that just grew our, we've always been family, but it just kind of tightened us real good. And same with his kids. They can call me. But yeah, he asked where I was at because, he knows Friday, I'm about to come over, but I'm never home now.
Right.
And I was like, oh yeah, I'm with my boo out at Go King.
Oh, no.
He did not catch it at first. I said, you didn't see that. And his eyes came back so big, like, wait, what?
Ooh, like, no, Ericka. I'd be like, so who's this you posted about here?
No. But that's what he said. He said, so that's why I don't really post the 42. Not so much. If I want to, I will. I don't really think about that because, I'm going to do what I want to do. Right. But when he brought that up, I was just like, well, my son is saying this. Somebody else is thinking it. If it pops up and I want to post it, I will.
So, okay. So the wedding. We got to talk about the wedding.
Okay.
So,
KJ
gets engaged. He gets married. Like, I saw the photos and I just remember
they look good.
They look beautiful.
I said God. Me.
Oh, well, I said everybody. That's everybody. But you look really good.
I love those pictures. Weren't they nice?
You look beautiful. And I just remember, it's funny how you said the 42, you saw it everywhere. As small as that little pen was, I saw it. And I was just like,
That was
good job,
so
Dad.
I know you have to bring something that was given to me and I wore it to his service. And I was thinking, like, what do I have? Like, basically, what they wanted of Kwamie's they have, right? And I was like, what do I have that I could take to KJ that he would want to wear for his? And I remember that pin. And I was like, well, you don't have to put it on the outside of your jacket because I don't want to take away from your wedding pictures. Right. So it was inside his jacket. So I pinned it on him when we were in the room getting ready, right before it was time to go out for the wedding. But it was a beautiful, I mean, everything about that day was perfect. We weren't rushed. It was relaxed.
Hold on, you're talking about a wedding day?
Yes.
And it was relaxed and calm.
Everything, the whole weekend, we had an amazing time. Becca's and his wife's name is Becca, and her family is amazing. And they made sure it was in Austin, Texas. So they made sure when we came into their city that we would leave. We love them. That's our new family.
Yeah, absolutely.
We had a good time. So, and then came home 2 days later. So KJ Kwamie came back with us on the plane, and it was a surprise to Kwinton's girlfriend, now fiance.
Oh yeah, you got another one.
Yeah, so we're planning another wedding now because he wanted to propose to her on 4/2, which was April 2nd. I was like, you are leaving your brand new wife and y'all are going on separate flights back. She was going back to Florida where he was training because she had, to go back to work and her computer was at home, and he was coming home with us. Yeah. And his reason was, because I got to go get a tattoo and only, so we could surprise Maylene, and nobody could figure it out, but it worked out. It was perfect. We did it in my backyard, and I have a new daughter-in-law coming. Well, she's been my daughter-in-law because they've been together since 11th grade. She was here at Chandler.
Really? Wow, they've been together for a long time. See, and I'm the bad dad because I'm like, you don't need to be dating a girl from high school. When you get to college, you need to get somebody new. So he's kind of had an on and off girlfriend. So I'm like, I don't know if I'm ready for marriage. Like, if Deuce was to come home, or either one of my kids would be like, Dad, I'm engaged. I'd be like, oh my God. But I'd be happy as well. But it'd just be yet another sign that, you're getting up there. This is life, and that's amazing. So what as I listen to you talk about it, the thing that I take from it as I'm listening to you is that father influence, like what a father means to their children, and what you leave behind in your legacy. It's just like, I know as a father, I would love for that. If whenever that happens, I want to know that I've done a good job with my kids, and Ivana's going to be okay, and everybody's going to be fine, and they're going to move on. And to see your boys, especially, like I said, all our kids are like right around the same age within a couple years. So they all grew up together. They know each other, always interacting. So that loss was just felt by everybody's family.
I know. That's true. Back to the crew that was there, I believe like Brendan was one of the first ones because Rick was there. Brendan was one of the first ones to give me a hug, and I think Taylor was with him, and then Frank's girls were there. I mean, when I call these people my nieces and nephews, of course the Spivey kids were there. Absolutely. Everybody was there that I really considered my nieces and nephews.
Family was there
because we were family. And I don't know that they have that right now in the NFL, because I'll talk to some of these, they have a good group. I mean, as far as some of the, I'm president of the WISE organization for 13 years.
I know.
And just seeing how some of the old school ways, the way we did things is different now. I don't know that they have the relationships where their kids are going to call each other cousins.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. I hope so. But really? From what I see, when I went to the Cardinals games a couple times, and you know, I would say, "Oh, where's such and such?" She's like, I don't know.
Just little pockets of people.
Yeah, it's just that's what it is. Yeah, it's more pockets. So that's I don't know, but I am glad I experienced it.
Yeah,
I hope they are experiencing it, and I'll find a way to experience it because I have lifetime friends in different groups. I have lifetime friends from college, lifetime friends from high school. I have my second college when I went out to Kansas after I graduated from Norfolk State. I have lifetime friends from there, and then here, like I've been blessed. You know,
great
I've been
friendships,
really
great
blessed.
families. It's just I think when I got here, because we were here the longest, and this is kind of our roots, I feel more rooted here than I ever have in any other team that I've been to, because you built up that legacy, and there's people like you who've been here, and you come in as a rookie, and you look up to these older guys. You look up to the Kwamies and the Ronald McKinnons, and these are the guys that you're like, well, you know, how do I do this? And they reach back and they help you. It's not like, well, I'm only worried about me, and I'm just worried about how many clicks I can get. And it was like that genuine big brother. You could come to them and talk to them. And it's the same with the wives. You always had that wife, who the young wives could say, hey, Ericka, you know, this is what's going on. And this is what's going on in football. Like, how do I handle this? And so it's sad to hear that it's not like that anymore, because that was just a big part of the camaraderie of being in football that you knew your family had when you were at training camp or you were off somewhere, that somebody could pick up the phone and say, hey, Ericka, you know, I'm struggling with the kids. I need some help. So to hear that that's gone is unfortunate.
Well, I'll take it back. From the teams and the people that I have been associated with since we left the game, I don't see it. They may have it, but again, I still get those phone calls. You know, I've served as president from 2009 to 2021, and we're in 2024, and I still get phone calls from people because I developed those relationships. People know, well, I'll call Ericka. She knows, you know, she knows the answer to everything. So I really just hope they do, you know, for my daughter-in-law's sake,
I was going to say,
look, I'm about to be a mama, a 3, right? NFL mom. Look, it's going to happen, right?
You're going to have to school her too.
Yes, all 3 of them. Yeah, whoever. Like Darius says he's going to have a girlfriend by the next wedding because he's not coming by himself. So I might got another one coming out now.
Don't rush. Tell them don't rush. Take their time. Their time. You know, it's funny because how the kids grew up. Like when Deuce left to go to college, I was like, oh my God, you're going to get down here. You need to have fun and go. You don't need a girlfriend. And it was all the things that I wanted to do or I did in college. And I'm kind of pushing him, and he's like, no, Dad, I'm
kids
good.
Aren't like that.
They don't. He's not into the big partying. He's not always on the scene because he's always telling me the horror stories.
Well, the football don't let you. I mean, they have very little time for freedom, and which is a good thing, you know.
Absolutely.
But they weren't into dating around, you know. Yeah. They weren't really into any of that. So I'm grateful, you know. Yeah. And look, I'm just telling you what I know. Who knows what I don't know, right? But from what I can,
the same way with him. I can see.
But even when they're home, they don't go out to the clubs. They may go out once or twice. Their friends still come to my house. You know, so cool. Club Lassiter is the house, and it happens. It happens every time all the boys are home, which is coming up in July. So I'm looking forward to that.
Getting excited.
Kwamie and Becca will be here next week. Darius is gonna come home. He was just here because BYU is literally just an hour flight. So I love going to those games.
It's not for Deuce anymore. He's up in Washington now. It's a 3-hour flight.
Well, Washington was on the list when he was in the portal.
Who?
For Darius when he was in the portal, because you know, so we left off. He went to Eastern Michigan from Butler County.
Okay.
And he spent the year out there. He did a season out there, and he did very well in their bowl game. And you know, he wasn't getting what he wanted, at the school. And I was just like, you know, you got 1-2 years left. Yeah. I said, do what you think is best, but you know, I didn't want him to make a wrong choice. But he said, I got to bet on myself, and he, you know, that term is so popular, and he did, and you know, he really did good. So when those offers started coming in, I was just like, I don't know. And then I was really, and I've said it to even the coaches and everybody, I was reluctant about BYU, but once we went out there.
Is it nice?
Oh my gosh.
Okay, because I'd be worried about letting my boy go to BYU. I'd be like,
oh my God. And when I tell you, Coach Fessy was a lot of coaches called and they talk to you. No, he was personable. He checked in. He called multiple times. Yeah. It wasn't that one call, you want your son, and then, and that was it. He was really making it. So that was our first visit. Out of 13 offers, that was our first visit. Colorado was supposed to be our second visit.
Colorado.
I know. So we we went there, and I didn't know what to expect with Provo, but when I tell you, Utah at all, because I've never been. Yeah. But when I tell you, they are so family oriented. Really? They're Christ-centered, which was important to me. Uh-huh. I was just really worried about rules. Not that Darius drinks or doing that, any of that. Yeah. Things that they had. I was just really worried about what happens if they mess up. Do they get kicked out of school?
Yeah.
But the way they make you feel really comfortable, I was like, no diversity. When I tell you, Coach Fessy had every black person that lived in Utah at that dinner, every black person that coached on that team. I met the wives, I met the kids. He made sure we felt comfortable. Yeah. And not only that, the players. I felt like we knew them. One of their coaches, Raylan, was like our guy for the weekend. Mm-hmm. He was a lot of fun. Yeah. So I left knowing that if that was his choice, he was in good hands.
Yeah, that's a good feeling when you know, because you're going through that. And I mean, obviously you got more experience with it than I do. But when Deuce was going through it, I said, what is important to you? Do you want to play, or do you just want to be on a team and just try to win a bunch of rings? And he was like, I want to play. Mm-hmm. And when we visited Tucson, I mean, Jetfish, despite everything that's happened with him going to Washington, he was great to Deuce. Like, I can only speak highly of him when it comes to how my son was treated when he was recruited, the 2 years that he was there, even when they left to go to Washington and he got in the portal, they were the first ones that reached out to him. And like you said, it was just the same group of coaches with just better toys now.
Right, yeah.
That was Washington. I mean, everything was first class. And like you said, you leave there knowing like, wow, my son's in good hands. And when somebody, you feel that energy that somebody cares about my kid and you care about his well-being as much as I do. As a parent, that's all you can ask for when you go on these recruiting trips.
Yeah. And actually, when we got to the hotel, first of all, they had us in separate rooms, which, I thought the boys were going to be in one room. And I would know they gave all three of us separate rooms. I was like, this is nice.
Yeah, they really wanted him.
Well, we all hang together anyway. So we're like, but each room was full of all this chocolate and candies. So I knew that Steve Young went there, and I'm really good friends with his wife. So I called her and I was like, tell me. And I just showed her the room. She's like, I know exactly where you are. What are you doing there? And then she told Steve, look. And she's like, oh, they're going to fill you up on that good old chocolate. It was amazing. But not even that. My first home game, when I tell you, I have never experienced a game like I have in college football at that.
Really? How many was it? 80,000, 100,000?
Oh, yes. And there's a corner for anybody outside a BYU fan. The whole stadium is theirs. We struggled at KU for so many years with it not even being anybody in the stands. We could all spread out. Yeah. Can't do that now.
No.
You have to sit in your seat now.
You have to stay there.
You have to sit in your seat because your seat will be gone.
At U of A, it was easy. You'd show up and game gets going. You can move down. I mean, the family section was great, so it wasn't a big deal. But it's going to now, with Washington being a powerhouse with football, he's just like that. It's a night and day difference. So I'm excited to go to like the first home game
it's gonna be fun.
And see all the purple. It's like 72,000. And I'm like, I've never even played in front of this many people myself.
And they're doing it in collise, right? Yeah. So it's a good experience. So I'm just happy. All of them are doing great. Eric is here in Mesa. He's working. He gets to work remotely. He just got one of my grand dogs. So that he got a pit bull from rescue last year, and that is his pride and joy. So he stays busy with that. Quincy is the one who's at home with me. Kwinton is there now while he's transitioning, waiting on his free agency to, figure out where his home will be. And that's pretty much what's been going on. Quincy's at ASU in the graphic design world. So when
you got to bring him by here.
When I walked in and I said, wait, he could actually work right here in Chandler and not have to go nowhere.
So I don't have to go far. Your baby can stay close to home.
Right. And he don't like driving no way. So this would be awesome. But he's just transferred last year over from Chandler Gilbert. And he's learning a little bit. So I'm going to put him to work to see how he could do, the Kwamie Lassiter Foundation's graphic stuff, and, try to see how he, gets out there as he's learning. Yeah. So I'm happy about all of them. They're all doing well.
That's good. That's so great, because it's like I'm not going to say lose touch, but even with you just being down the street, sometimes I feel like we're so far away, and I just see the kids through social media, and I see you, and I'm like, wow, these boys, I still see little babies. Like that's, and I remember being young, people used to, I'm like, I remember you were a little baby. And I'm like, I'm not a baby anymore. But now that I'm 50, 49 years old, I see these little boys and I see the little babies. I remember when, playing in the backyards and going to each other's birthday parties, and now they're getting married. I see Justin, and he's got like a full beard.
Right? Oh my gosh! I was looking at a picture because we used to go to California when they were there, and Ari was like the queen. I was with all these boys, and it was just her. So I was just looking at all the pictures, and when I saw Amy posted the other day of him doing that like commercial for the MLB, I just like, wow. They are grown. And he speaks so well. And I'm like, even last year when we went to his draft, thing, he didn't look as grown as he looks right now. That 1 year in the league is, and his it's changed. But
I'm sure it does. The things that he's seeing and having to experience, it's like, oh, wow, I got to grow up real quick. I mean, I always sit back and I laugh, and Ivana and I talk about it. I'm like, we know the future college and NFL kids, like, we grew up with these kids. Our kids are friends. Like, we can genuinely say, I know that kid at the receiver for the Bengals. Right. I know a Major League Baseball player. And I'm like, these kids all grew up together, spending the night at each other's house. And to see them as young men grown and starting their own lives is like, you just feel so good, because as a parent, that's what you want.
Right.
You know, and to see them going down there, because you think about all the tough times and having the, I'm going to choke you out, boy.
No, those were the good old days, though. And just sitting outside the games, I remember pulling those wagons, all of us sitting there. So I'm excited. I'm excited for Trey. I can finally root for K-State.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. He went to the opposite school.
Yeah. So the boys, they got to play against each other last year.
How was that?
It was good. I mean, first my boys played, so that was national news for a while, because the Lassiter brothers, we call it the Battle of the Bros. So Kwinton and Darius played against each other, and then Trey and Kwinton played against each other. So that was really fun. Just, you think we're from Chandler, Arizona. Here we are in these two different, in the state of Kansas, on a Big 12 stage, together, and being able to experience that with family, because I consider everybody, that's my family, so being able to experience that, it was, it's good. I love it.
That's good. Now, I want to this is more of a, make light of it. I really was thinking Darius was a D lineman. When I saw DL, Ericka, it made my heart sing to see somebody who comes from a DB family. Right. And I saw DL, and I almost yelled because I had headphones on at my desk. And I was like, he's a D lineman. And I was like, oh. Yeah. And now you break my heart. It's just Darius Lassiter. It's just a nickname.
Everybody get nicknames. So his nickname, I don't know if it started in high school or college, but I even call him DL now too.
Really? DL?
Yeah, it's easier. Darius. Actually, I'll call them whatever, because I'll still call them by, DL, I'll call them Kwinton or Eric. I'll call them all the wrong names. But when I do refer to them, I do say DL. But yes,
Because now that Morgan's back home, I find myself calling Morgan Ivana, and I'll be like, Morgan, and I'm talking to Ivana, and she's like, that's not me. And it's like, oh my God, I'm like, all the things I used to make fun of my mom with, that's not my name. Now I'm doing it because I see her all the time, and now that she's back home, she graduated and she's working on her master's, I see her every day, and I started to realize, like, wow, girls are just like their dads. Yeah. Her attitude, her things that she says, and I'll see her little temperaments, and I'm like, dude, that's a female version of me over there.
She was always a princess. I love seeing her do her thing at Hamilton and her dance. And she was great.
I got to tell you a story you may not know. Your boys saved her. I want to say they were all up at Adrian's house, Adrian Wilson, and it was like a pool party. It was like your boys were there, my kids were there, Leonard Davis's girls were there.
Yeah, I remember that. Aubrey's birthday party.
Aubrey's birthday party, and they were in a pool, and Morgan kept getting dunked by Leonard's girls, and you've seen them. And Morgan was like, "Oh my God, help me!" Your boys had to come over and be like, "Hey, y'all, slow down a little bit. Let's protect her," because the girls, they were aggressive and throwing her around, and Morgan's like, "Oh my God, what are you doing?" So your boys had to come save her.
They probably didn't know their girth, like they were bigger than for sure. Alicia's my girl. Yeah, I just talked to her recently because Santana is off in Auburn.
He's
Austin
in Texas,
now. So when you say these kids are growing and going, Aubrey is graduating, I want to say this weekend from Oregon. Yeah.
That's about right, because her and Morgan are the same age. So Morgan graduated early.
Yeah.
Oh
yes. Time has flying. Look at us showing our age.
We are. That's okay, though. I love it, though.
Me
love
too.
it.
It's a good memories to have.
Yes, absolutely.
You know?
I just remember when Santana was like a huge fan of Deuce. Like, he'd be talking to Alicia like, Mom, look, Deuce follows me. Or I'm part of it. And Alicia would be like, yeah, I knew Deuce before he was even here. Like, what are you talking about? Yeah. He's like, well, Mom, look, Deuce follows me. And I'm like, why are y'all starstruck like y'all are? But that's just crazy how they all grew up. I love it.
And he looks up to the boys. Yeah, him and Kwinton. When KU was recruiting him, they asked Kwinton about Adrian Wilson, and he had no clue who they were talking about. He said, that's my dad's old teammate. Yeah. He's like, no, he goes to, what school is at? Desert Mountain.
Oh, yeah, he was at Desert Mountain.
He's like, he goes to Desert Mountain. And he's like, oh, and he said, I never knew his name was Adrian, because we've called him Santana from his baby shower. We called him Santana, and I call him Tana because me and him are both Libras. Okay. Actually, all four of us are. Me, Adrian, Alicia, and Santana. Our birthdays are all within days, so we stay in touch about our Libra gang. So I always called him my Tana. So I'm excited for him. I'm looking forward to seeing what he has his freshman year. So you already know how hard that is.
I think so. Hopefully, well, his dad. Will. I mean, come on. Adrian's on his butt, just like with Deuce. All these boys are going to have such great success because they had such great role models. And like you said, we've been foot to the throat, and Mom's like, you're being a little tough on them, but you look at where they are, and you're like, yeah, being tough works.
Yeah, but sometimes it's not it's to their benefit to have it, but sometimes they get it hard on the other side. Because if you think, don't think just because your dad made it. And, you're going to, that's the only thing is just they have the talent, they see the talent. And I think that was part of the issue is, either let me play these other kids. They don't get those opportunities. I don't know. But, I think he'll do well. I hope all of them succeed.
They're amazing. I want to see all of them on Sundays.
Oh, they all are. They are going to be there on Sundays. I am a faith preaching girl. And I told him, it doesn't look like things are going to line up right now. I know it's hard, but it's going to always line up. Yeah. I never know. Like, even when I experienced what I experienced, I was sad. I was fearful, but I never doubted. Because I knew that God was I was like, he doesn't take anything away for a reason. He's going to give you a reason to understand in the end why you had to go through what you go through. And I share that with my boys all the time. And I was like, I know they taught me, trust the process. I'm giving it to them. I'm giving them everything that I have in me. And I know they don't want to hear that, but it always works out.
It does.
It always works out. I don't like it myself, but it works out.
No, I know exactly
it really
what
does.
You mean.
It does.
Because it's not as devastating as yours, but when my wife got sick, it was just like, one thing after another. It was like boom, 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 boom.
And we were always praying for her,
Yeah, thank you. And it's like, then you got to tell the kids. So then you got to make sure the kids stay on their regiment because you don't want them to think too much about this. And then you got to make sure that she's okay. So, it's just the amount of effort that it takes to keep that train going. It is just amazing. So, like I said, when I thought about this and what we were going to talk about, I just felt like, oh my God, is that going to be something we can talk about? And then when I started realizing it was more me than you, like, I'm glad we did this and I'm glad we talked about it because it's almost therapeutic. And I mean, you've been through it, and to hear that, and you start hearing it's a low, but then it turns into a great thing because now you see these wonderful young men and you see them thriving and successful, and you're just like, yeah, we did good.
Yeah. And just to tell you, you probably don't know, we watched you. You did a lot with her being sick and not being able to be mobile. You were there for dances. You were there for football. Every time I saw you, you were there. You were even, I think I would see y'all. I don't know what the parking lot is now, but it's the, or Taco Bell. I think that's the last time I would see y'all over there. It wasn't always a big trampoline place. It was something else. But I think I would see you getting Ivana in and out of the car. You would be at Hamilton. You would be there with the kids. So you stepped up where you did everything that you had to do, what you were supposed to do, right? But just seeing you as a male, being able to do that and handle all aspects and taking care of her and them was commendable. So you did a wonderful job.
I appreciate that.
I know you say I don't need to get praises for what I'm supposed to do. But you should know that people watched you and appreciate what you were doing, because people could have just left. People could be like, I can't handle all this.
And there was some of her friends that actually their husbands were like, dude, I would have called your mom out here, and I don't know if I could have handled that, but for me, it was just like, that's my wife.
Yeah,
that's
you
got to
do what you got to do.
So exactly, you put your head down and you just get to work. So I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I appreciate you coming on too, Ericka. This was great. Like this was like, I think it was good. Like I'm trying not to cry too much. I've been trying to hold it back. So.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good, and I'm glad I came to. Just the reason why you saw all my likes and my comments because just watching your content and watching what you're talking about, because things aren't the same as they were when you were trying to go to school, right? And they weren't the same when Kwamie was trying to go to school. So when Darius was being recruited, this is the first time I had experienced that.
Yeah,
my boys didn't have that opportunity. They had a couple people who wanted him, but it was more so not, we want you to come see us. It was like, we better get in the car and go and show our face, So the fact that your program is talking about, those D1 steps, when you're out there, what do you do? I heard you talking about telling dudes what not to post and what to post and how you want to take it down. Those are the things. So I was intrigued. So that's why I listened, I followed.
Appreciate that.
And when you reached out and said, hey, would you be on the show? I was like, yeah, I was so
happy too. I was like,
I like that show. I want to go. I want to talk.
Because I see how busy you are and all the foundations you're running in. And I'm like, oh man, she's so busy. She doesn't have time for Russell. So Ivana's like, are you stupid? Like, and I was like, hey, Ericka. And I was like, yay, jump in the air and click my heels.
Fill out. So, I'm busy, but I found a way to, I won't even say I got the proper boundaries, the way it works. I just know what's important is my children, number one, my real estate, I got to work to eat, to feed, and then my foundations, the Kwamie Lassiter Foundation and Off the Field keep me busy, but with Kwame's, I really want to just keep that legacy alive. So we got to get you out to golf. You've been missing out.
I'm so bad.
Even if you don't golf, a lot of them come out there.
I've been scolded a few times. Like, Banks was on here. He scolded me about not being out there, and I'm like,
well, it's just a lot of fun for the guys. They really come. I don't know. There's other golf tournaments. They play golf together all the time, but this one is meaningful, to them. Jake comes back every year.
Really?
Okay. He comes every year, and 5 years coming up. So we're starting early because I really want to get some sponsors on hand early because I really want to make it big. It's been small but nice. And now when I say small, not by number, because we have 35, 40 of the NFL guys alone come out and played in, another 100 golfers, right? It's been small because I haven't raised the money I wanted to raise to get back to the sickle cell families. Because even though Quincy's cured, praise God.
Yeah, I saw that with the bone marrow.
Yeah, he's cured. I still remember what it was like for us in that community. And we had the resources, but there's so many people don't. And it's even worse now. Like yesterday, I got 3 financial requests, and you want to give. I want to give to everybody. I just don't have the funds to give everybody. So I got to keep this going so that I can, make sure that we can continue to bless those families, and be able to provide and help them through not worrying about how you're going to eat or how you're going to get. I'll send you a lift in a minute to get to the hospital to your appointment.
Absolutely.
So you don't have to wait in line on a hot bus. That doesn't bother me. But I want to be able to make sure not only there's an awareness, know that there's a cure. So that if you're able to get it. So that's why I keep going for the foundation. And Kwamie loved himself so much, he does not want his name to die. I know he got a son named after him, but to keep his name alive and his legacy going, and it keeps me busy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Keeps me busy, and I enjoy it.
Thank you. So I appreciate you coming on, Ericka. This was so much fun, man. I
don't even know what time it is, but
that's all right, though.
I got a 3 o'clock.
I know. I told you I was going to get you out of here on time.
And it's right down the street, so it's perfect.
Thanks for tuning in to The Route. Don't forget to subscribe and connect with us on socials for exclusive updates. We'll see you next week.